You're back.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to Soul Search with Jane and Polly. I'm obviously Polly, and this is obviously Jane. We're really pleased to see you guys again this week. Feels like ages. And we have got an amazing special guest with us today. So who have we got today?
Amazing. So I'm Jono Webster.
And tell us about yourself, Jono Webster.
Well, I work full-time in spirituality in holistic therapies. I'm a specialist in psychic surgery, in trance mediumship, in spirit clearings, and also tutoring and mentoring.
Fabulous.
That's what I
Fabulous.
do.
And if anyone didn't know, I've known you for a very long time, and it is actually your fault that I am a trance medium.
Yeah, I can blame you for that one as well.
Yeah, I get the blame for that.
Yeah. To be fair, trance is actually my biggest love. So actually, I can't blame you for anything. I'm just very grateful that you introduced me to it all those years ago when I used to think it was scary, and I absolutely am addicted to it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it's
that was a
been
long time ago that we used to sit and just develop it.
certainly a long and amazing journey for yourself, obviously, in your part from when you first started. And obviously then you introducing it to me, I used to think it was the most terrifying thing ever and absolutely love it. And then now it's my fault that Jane also does trance mediumship. And then we obviously joined you on the Spirit Release with the Spirit Release Academy nearly 2 years ago now in May, wasn't it? Hence the reason why we became spirit release practitioners, which has been another amazing journey for us, hasn't it?
It has. Polly, I'm just going to be all techie on you, and you need to go over a bit, because anyone on Facebook, that's it, stay there, don't move, you're getting too close. Because everyone's only seen half your face, and that's not good.
Half her face.
Yes, it is. 2 years in May that we did that wonderful journey. 2 years
Seems
ago
like long ago.
that I sat in that room and went, what the am I doing here? 2 years ago
That's
that
the
I
same
said,
feeling I had.
yeah, 2 years ago that I turned around and went, oh, look, I think I'm more a facilitator. And you put facilitator on my name badge. And I went, told you. And Polly went, I'll sort that out. Don't you worry. You are a medium. So, yeah, but what a journey. It has been one of the, I'm not saying fun, because that's not really the right word to use for it, but it has been, because it's been enlightening. But it's been one of the most powerful, knowledgeable things I've probably done, even out of my holistic stuff and even out of my degree stuff as a uni student. It really was quite enlightening, and also certainly made me work I thought I worked very well anyway, which we both did, didn't we, Polly? But how much more aware were we of things? How much more have we taken care of our own group members when we are teaching our development group and our trance group? We are now really on the ball with our protection and everything. So thank you, Jono. Thank you, Polly. I've not thanked her before because I blamed her for everything. But yeah, we are so pleased to have you on. We've had a little build up to this. We didn't talk about our own stuff for quite some time. We've let people come on. We've had hypnotherapists come on, regressionists come on, building up to some of the work that does go on behind the scenes of Spirit Release. We didn't want to talk too much about it, and we didn't want to give too much away about it. But you, like you said, are a psychic surgeon as well, and you are doing other stuff. So today is your time to talk about you.
Well, thank you, because it's normally me sitting where you sit, and we ask other people to come on our Sovereign Souls podcast that I do with Andy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so yeah, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving me the platform to come in and just have a little chat with you. And also, it's a very big privilege to do so, because as Polly mentioned, I've known Polly probably for around 23 years now. Before I worked spiritually, before Polly worked spiritually. And certainly Polly was at the beginning and experienced me coming into this. And then I experienced her coming into this too. And then having you come through that lineage as well, Jane, is just amazing. I think probably the amount of people that have come through, either Polly or myself, in the teachings and mentoring, we're probably going into the hundreds, maybe thousands. It's been an incredible journey. But I think for me, one of the things I always think of is how lucky I am. And then I remind myself that none of it is luck. And what I mean by that really is that there are people that say, I want to do what you do. I want to have the connection to White Hawk that you have with White Hawk. And I sat in weekly circles twice a week for 11 years developing. I put a lot of time into my development. I put a lot of time into learning, working with people that I trusted, working with people that when they speak, I wanted to listen. And I learned a lot. I learned a huge amount. So I think on the development side, that comes from the individual. But where I am lucky is that White Hawk chose to work with me. And that's where I feel my greatest spiritual achievement, because without him and without that connection to him, I wouldn't be trancing. I wouldn't be doing psychic surgery. I wouldn't be doing spirit release, and I wouldn't be teaching. The lessons that I teach all come from him.
For anyone that's listening, tell them a little bit about White Hawk, who he is, what he is, because there might be people out there going, who's he talking about? White Hawk?
Yeah, who is this White Hawk?
Who is this White Hawk?
That is what we ask ourselves. Who is White Hawk? So White Hawk is my master guide. White Hawk is the guide that works with me every day. I work with him in clearance, I work with him in healing, I work with him in psychic surgery. He came to me, I was sitting in a physical circle. I had a different guide. I was probably about 10 months into development. And when I was in a physical circle, I could feel the energy of that guide, and I could feel the energy up and leave. And I knew instantly that that guide was not coming back. And I sat there in a circle, just in like a void of spiritual connection, not having a guy thinking, what the hell's going on? I've not experienced this before. And then all of a sudden I felt this huge energy coming, this massive, massive energy. I'm 6'1". I'm not a small guy. And the energy just completely overrun me, completely overwhelmed the power that came through. And then I felt the name come through, White Hawk. So I sat there, I didn't say anything, and I was just connecting to this energy that was coming through in this circle, White Hawk. I didn't say anything to anybody else. And I just held the name to myself. In the trance circle, in the physical circle, the trance medium was Wendy Smith, who Polly knows. She was my main mentor when I was coming into spirituality. And she channeled her guide. Her guide came through, spoke to me about my son Harrison. And then he said, and if you need any spiritual help with that, White Hawk will be able to assist. Now, this was a medium working in trance, and I hadn't repeated White Hawk's name. So for me, that was evidence coming through. So all of a sudden, I've got this energy around me called White Hawk. So I started meditating. My journeys into meditation became deeper. I started trancing quicker, easier, deeper. I started channeling him a lot quicker. The healing completely changed. This is where I used to do Reiki, and during the Reiki sessions, probably as most people are aware of Reiki, you follow a hand system. I wasn't. I was closing my eyes and I was kind of falling asleep. And when I was waking up, I was standing in a different position. My hands were doing different things. The feedback was getting different. And there was certainly one person that used to come for fairly regular Reiki sessions. And during the sessions, physical things used to happen in the room. The CD that I used to play used to open and sometimes fall out. Candles would fall off the shelf. Different ornaments that I would have in the Reiki room would fall off the table onto the wooden floor. Lots of physical phenomena happening during the healing sessions. And then the more I was doing it, the more I was relaxing into it, the more I was getting used to it, and the more White Hawk would come through. The person that I used to get for Reiki then changed, not necessarily the individual, but the type of person. With Reiki, I used to attract people that were stressed and just needed maybe 45 minutes, 50 minutes to have some nice time, some quiet time. I then started getting people with tumours, with spinal defects, with serious mental health and attachments. And this is where White Hawk then started introducing me to 2 surgeon guides that work with me in the healing team that the White Hawk runs. And so the healing started taking off. So that's who White Hawk is. He is my spiritual teacher. He is my mentor. He is my guardian. He's not my gatekeeper. My gatekeeper, my protector is Red Feather. Red Feather is actually White Hawk's brother. And he's there for a certain reason. White Hawk is he's very loving. He's got a huge energy, and he's very, very much into the shamanic healing and working within the surgical team in psychic surgery. His brother is Red Feather. Red Feather is a warrior, and by all accounts, is a bit of a git. So you've got the balance of White Hawk, which is loving, and you've got Red Feather, who takes no crap from anyone. And that means that when I work, I have the luxury of White Hawk's energy, knowledge in the healing, And then if there is anything, perhaps that has a very, very low vibration, I have that security of my gatekeeper, Red Feather. I've never seen him tested. I've never seen him out of his depth. And that gives me the confidence to do the spirit clearance that I do.
It's really interesting what you said, because obviously, you know, I know, like I said, I know you, I know how you work in the way, you know, have so much integrity. You have so much, well, say humbleness, as in, you know, you're not the sort of person you work with total integrity. And, you know, it's not about being how can I explain it? The Red Hawk fan club, you know what I mean? It's nothing like that, is it? It's like, when you work, you work. And when you teach, you teach. And when you teach and you work, it is so thorough and well disciplined, majorly disciplined. And to anyone at home, I mean, me and Jane, when we teach, we instill discipline. It's so important. We have a development trance group. It's a closed trance group. It's invite only. So it would only be if we felt that you were, you know, working in that way is going to be for you, and you're going to have the same integrity and discipline as we would. And we weren't sure that's really, it's such an important thing. It's literally a must and a given, you know. And anybody that is looking to work with trance mediumship or in altered states or work in physical mediumship, it's also important to know that, you know, there is no point thinking that this is going to be like, you know, you're going to sit for a month and then you're going to be a really good trance medium or really good altered states medium or a psychic surgeon. Because like you said, and like I know, and I've done the same, you have to sit religiously. You have to work with your guides. You have to understand your guides. You have to feel that bond and development and trust with your guides. And it is so important that people don't just think this is like, oh, I want to be a trance medium. I want to have this. I want to have that, because it isn't like that. And there's so much time, patience, and, well, just time and patience, isn't it? It's not really another word. And discipline to be able to get where you are now, where I am now. You know, other trance mediums are really, really good where they are now. It isn't just a quick fix and that's what I want. You know, it's
and
not
there's
like,
an element of ethics as well. And I think
absolutely
with the academy, I mean, people still can poo-poo stuff. And I think with the academy, it was much more on an ethical, professional basis. And people can be intrigued or poo-poo what they like, but the proof is in the pudding. We actually just finished a clearing before we came onto the podcast. We are busy with them. We are lucky. We live near each other, so we can work together a lot. We work together a lot anyway, but we obviously do our own things as well. So there is an element of ethics. And I think although we were very ethical workers as mediums and psychics and healers, we really have upped our game. And in fact, our trance group, they see our serious side in a good way. Our development group see our fun, loving side, because development is more relaxed and obviously more for them to learn different things. Trance, we take very seriously, and we won't have any nonsense. And we are always looking after their well-being. And although we did that before, and obviously, like, Polly's been doing it for years, so she was good anyway. I was her student, as I was yours, Jonno. Now we are much more on it, much more aware, much more taking care of them, making sure that's why there's two of us, so that we can always, even if we divide the group, we can keep an eye on those groups that are divided, because there's two of us doing so. But yeah, I thank you both, I think, now. I probably didn't say that a year ago, and I've still got lots to do because I haven't sat for 20 plus years like you two. But I remember, Jono, that first day, I think we were 3 days in when you talked about we were going to start doing practicals. And I'm still sitting there thinking, practicals? We can't do practicals? I didn't know who my guide was. So many had come through in my trance with Polly that I was clueless. So I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, who is going to turn up when he does this meditation? And I wrote the 3 M's on my bit of paper while you were taking us down that meditation. And when I came back and looked at it, I thought, oh yeah, all right, 3 M's. What is that? M&M's? What are we talking sweets here? Who the hell are the 3 M's? My name, my surname, my maiden name began with M. I was clueless. And then we did another meditation, and then bang, there was Merlin straight in my head. And I thought, wow, that's weird, because he had come to me 4 years ago and I dismissed him. Poor Merlin's been waiting a while. And then the other two came out when we were probably 2 or 3 theory practices in the next day. And I remember going back to the room going to Polly, "You're not going to believe who the other two are." I said, "It can't be. It's not." And I really was shocked by Polly. I couldn't get my head round these people, these guides, these ascended masters wanting to talk through me. Plus, I hadn't really talked properly in trance till then, so that was even more of a bit of a character building episode, I think. But I think they're my gatekeepers as well. The other two M's were Melchizedek and Metatron, and they only come in when it gets tough. If it's not tough, it's Merlin. If it's tough, the other two come in, and I almost feel that energy is so overwhelming. It is literally like, okay. And you've seen it yourself, haven't you, Polly? You know you're not talking to Merlin. You're suddenly talking to the 3 Ms. And they call
It's like a collective,
They call
isn't it?
we. They just go we. And if they talk we, she knows all 3 are in. So yeah, amazing, because up until then I was clueless who was going to be working with me. Which was a bit of a worry at the time.
Yeah.
Jonno, let's talk about your psychic surgery as well, because again, I did trance level 1 with you, which was a separate to being in Polly's trance group, so it gave me different angles. And I think I knew instantly that despite the fact I know I'm a psychic medium, despite the fact I'm clearly doing trance and I'm clearly talking in trance, I still feel my biggest place is healing. And I think for me, when I'm doing healing, like you said with Reiki, when I do Rahani, I've shifted. I am moving between trance and Rahani when I'm working with my clients now. It's visibly noticeable to me. It's certainly getting noticeable to my clients because of what I'm getting from it. But yeah, I think for me, I always know healing is probably where I still sit. I've totally worked differently in trance healing than I do in Rahani if we're practicing it with the group. So tell people a bit about psychic surgery, because it's the word, it's like psychic surgery. What are you doing to me?
Yeah. Well, thank you. And thank you both for everything that you've said as well. That's really, really appreciated. But I'm just going to go back, Jane, to what you said about feeling comfortable and about, feeling that you're in your fit when you go into healing. When I very, very first started developing spiritually, I invited a certain Polly round my house one evening so I could practice doing a reading. And I think that we would both be honest and say that it was absolutely bloody awful. It was terrible. I got one image, I could describe the image, and that was in a process of about an hour. And I've never, ever felt comfortable doing readings, wanting to do readings, being asked to do readings. It doesn't flick my switch in any way at all. Put me in a treatment room with a couch and someone that's, I don't want to say it in this way, but somebody that's seriously unwell. And I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Really, really where I feel comfortable and I feel no pressure. And I think that's probably the big thing for me is that I've got so much trust in White Hawk and the work that he does and the surgical team that work with him is that I feel absolutely no pressure when I work in healing, whether it be remote, whether it be in person, hands-on. I feel no pressure. I literally can't wait to close my eyes, connect and go. And that means that I have the luckiest job in the world because that's how passionate I am about doing it. And I just love it. But certainly the progression, it was people coming in who I was advertising Reiki. They were coming in because they were stressed. They needed 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes de-stress time. Other things were happening in the healing session. The feedback that I was getting, that hands were inside the stomach working, doing things. I started to get people that had tumours. I started working with tumours. And again, it's a horrible thing to say, but I love working with people that have tumours. I kind of get excited by it because I know the feedback that we've had before. And it's like, okay, tumours, great. Let's get in. Let's have a go.
When you say, obviously for those who have got no idea what psychic surgery is or means, when you're saying about your hands going in, obviously your hands aren't really penetrating into the skin, but energetically your hands or the hands of your guides are penetrating the energy.
Yeah.
Is that a good way of describing it?
Yeah, so obviously when you're working remotely, there's no physical connection anyway. It's all spiritual connection, energetic connection. But when you're working hands-on, I don't move around. I sit behind the recipient who is usually laying on a treatment couch, and I touch around the head, I touch around the temple, and I touch around the shoulders. I don't move from there. And when I work the shoulders, I get access points into the etheric body. The etheric body is the energetic body. And I can find access points into the body via the shoulders. That means I can work the big toe, I can work the heart, I can work the birthing channel, I can work the pelvis, I can work the solar plexus, I can work anything without moving. So in that way, it means that it's a very safe way to receive hands-on healing because there is no other touch. The touch is gentle, you're fully clothed, it's very safe. There's usually some nice music being played that you can just relax to. But what you might feel is my hands physically touching your shoulders, but regularly you'll feel the laser work that the guides do, the heat, the burning. It won't hurt. It's not, this is not physical, but you know there's burning. I could feel burning through the sacral area. I could feel hands working through the pelvic area, emotional area, working through the emotions of the healing, that sort of thing. So people can feel it, but they also know that it's not physical. So it is a spiritual form of healing. And one of the things that White Hawk says to me, particularly when I was coming through learning about psychic surgery and how it works, is that in his words, everything in the universe is energy. Everything. We are the same as the planets. We are the same as the stars. We are the same as the mountains. In his words, he will say the mountains are our brothers. They're our ancestors holding knowledge, and flows of knowledge come out of mountain ranges, things like that. But because everything is energy, we understand scientifically that energy can be manipulated. We understand scientifically that negative, low vibrational energy can be raised in energy into a positive vibration. So if we can learn how to change that low vibrational energy into positive, it means we can now work tumors. It means we can now work spinal columns. It means that we can now work eyes. It means that we can now work with mental health because we're working the energy behind it. We're not working the mental health, we're working the energy, and the energy is the battery. So again, other psychic surgeons, other people that work in healing, they may have a completely different viewpoint. And I'm not here to compete with anybody. I just work the way that White Hawk has taught me. When we work a tumor, we don't work cancer. We work the emotion of the tumor. We work the battery and the energy of the tumor. Because once you drain the battery, the tumor can't survive. You haven't got to work it. So although I say, yeah, I love working tumors and that, I don't actually work tumors. I have nothing to do with the tumors. I work the emotion of the tumor. I work the battery of the tumor. And once we take away the emotion, once we take away the battery, once we take away the history and the connection to it, the body can't keep a tumor if there's no energy there. And it will naturally dissolve. So this is how I understand the psychic surgery when we're working with spinal columns. You know, we can reposition the spinal column and we can put in energetic wedges and stabilizers to just help recorrect the balance of the shoulders, the spinal column, down into the pelvic area. One of the examples I give on my psychic surgery training course is, you know, we have to come away from everything that we've been taught so far. This is day one, psychic surgery, forget everything. You're here with your guides. Forget all the manuals, forget everything you've ever been told. Again, we're not competing. We're not saying that that's wrong. We're saying this is different. And then on day 4 of the certification, you bring it all together, everything that you've known before, everything that you do now that you've just learned in the last 3 days. But one of the things that we talk about is I say, you know, as a healer, somebody can come to you with a knee issue. How many people here would put their hands on the knee?
I would. Both.
Majority of people say, yeah, I would. So you say, right, okay, so then how often do you do work for someone? They get off the couch, they feel great, but the issue with the knee is there in 2 weeks' time. It comes back. So I'll give you an example. When I had a really big teaching with White Hawk and the team around 2015, he gave me this exact example. Somebody had come in with a problem on the knee. In my mind, I'm like, right, let's go to the knee. Start tuning in, start working with White Hawk, straight to the heart. And he found an emotion that was connected to the shoulders that disbalanced the energy of the shoulders. So we worked that emotion, we drained that emotion, we cleared that emotion, and we released that emotion. That was the majority of the healing session. We then went in to rebalance the energy of the shoulders. By rebalancing the energy of the shoulders, we could then work down the spinal column, because the spinal column was taking the weight of the displacement of the shoulder energy. Once we started working down the spinal column, we then started balancing the pelvis. Once we balanced the pelvis, we then locked in the energy and locked in the healing session, and the knee wasn't touched. And when I asked him why, he said because it was the pelvis that was making the lady walk funny. And because she was walking funny, she had a problem with the knee. But the pelvis was disbalanced because of the way the curvature of the spine was working. But the curvature of the spine was a result of the disbalance energy within the shoulders. And the shoulders were disbalanced because the energy of the trauma that she was carrying didn't need to touch the knee.
It's quite interesting. I mean, as a holistic therapist, aromatherapist, and a teacher in Rahani healing, it is amazing. I've always studied the metaphysical side of the body as well as the anatomy. And there is so many, I mean, even when I did reflexology, there's a lot going on in the body that where the pain is isn't actually where the problem is. And it's really hard to get that across to people sometimes because they just focus only on that pain or that area. And even though, I mean, I've just joked, I've got 2 knees that don't work well. One obviously was damaged. I also know the other one has put other stuff out. So I know where my problem has started. I've just got additional secondary pain there anyway. So it is interesting. So, Jonno, you've done a few psychic surgery courses. You run one in the USA last year, I think it was, which was really successful. What have you got coming up if anyone's listening now, if they want to learn more about psychic surgery?
So for psychic surgery, if you are in the US, I'm doing 2 courses in the US in August. One in Boulder in Colorado in August, and that's followed a week later in Kentucky in Frankfurt. So they're certification courses. I'm certified in teaching psychic surgery. So they will give you every piece of grounding you require to step out and work in psychic surgery. Did that over a period of 15 years, and I'm bringing 15 years experience into the certification. I've now been doing psychic surgery for about 22 years, and I don't hold anything back. If there is a question, I talk. White Hawk will talk. White Hawk on healing will talk for, I was going to say will talk for England, but he'll talk for the world. He will just continue talking and talking and teaching and teaching. That is his passion. So I'm looking to do, I did a course in the UK earlier this year. I'm looking to do a second one in October as soon as I find a suitable location. I'm doing America in August. I've got 2 courses there. I've been asked to go to Australia, but we'll just wait and see what happens. And there's a possibility of going into Europe and teaching it as well. So it's a big thing, and it's a lot of my concentration, because one of the things with White Hawk is that he called me my man. He says, "You, my man." He said, "Doing healing with one person like this is great, my man. Now imagine 100 people doing it." And as we all know, and as you two really get, is that the world at the moment is not in a great place. The energy of the world is down. The energy of people is down. White Hawk will tell you, you have a light. You got to shine. You got to shine it bright and let everyone see it, because it's down to us to raise the vibration of the world. It's not down to the world leaders. They have their own agenda. Our agenda must be care, sharing love, sharing healing, sharing compassion for people. And very often that comes across in the spiritual background. Very often that comes across in the healing background. So the more people doing it, the more results we're going to get. The results that we get with psychic surgery, no one takes medication. When you do clearings, I'm not talking about me and the clearings that I do, but when you do clearings, no one gets sectioned. No one takes medication.
You're not, no.
Yeah.
Well, no, we have actually. I think it was with Jane. It might not have been. I can't remember, because I did quite a few when Jane was in
Traveling India.
I didn't think she was going to come home. But we had one where somebody had been sectioned, and shortly after the clearing, they came out of the hospital.
We have done one where they just come out as well, but weren't.
Yeah.
Still,
But that's what I mean by it, is that you can take people out of that environment. You can take people
we
away
do
from
know that.
medication.
I mean, as you know, my son was a case study, and I've used it on my son since, because I truly believe it stopped him trying to end his life. It stopped a lot of things, and it did bring him out of a dark place. Someone said to me once, "Well, why did you do it so many times if it's so good?" He didn't ask me to do it, and he wasn't working with me at the time. I did it to save his life and get him in a better place. So I kept doing it until I got him in that better place. So I wasn't saying it wasn't going to cure him because he wasn't engaging with it, but it was certainly helping him and getting him somewhere when he was ready to do it himself. So yeah, we've got loads of reasons. I mean, we've done a talk on it. Me and Polly did a talk on it last year, and someone questioned us and what we were doing. They did speak to Polly afterwards and said they sort of got it afterwards, but we're not standing there. We don't need anyone to ask what we're doing. We know it works. We've done it on our own families. We've done it on ourselves. We know it works.
Yeah.
So,
I think
and
that's
the
the thing with it.
surgery is done in the clearings, isn't it? We are doing an element of that while our guys are working.
And I think what you're saying, Jane, particularly, clearing isn't healing. You won't heal somebody from a clearing. You'll clear them. That's what it is. It's a clearing. They have a window of opportunity to change.
Yeah.
And you
And that's
provide
why
that
we give them
window of
advice
opportunity.
afterwards, advice and aftercare to follow it through. But
Absolutely.
we're not miracle workers long term. And we're not actually miracle workers as that. We're just doing something to give them a window of opportunity to do something about it. So
during the clearings as well, sometimes the guides will be saying that they could suggest areas of of healing, or it could be talk therapy. It could be that they need to be diagnosed with something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perhaps they've been suffering from for a long, long time, ADHD, or I mean, I'm without a doubt somewhere on the ADHD spectrum. But at the same time, there's people that, I mean, I would be high functioning because I can function. I can still do everything I need to do. I just know that sometimes my traits would be totally putting things off. You know what I mean? Or getting very overwhelmed in situations where I just think, oh, just sort yourself out, woman. I can do that, right? But some people, if they have got serious issues around that sort of thing, or if they, are struggling in other ways with neurodiversity, I mean, our guides will be coming through and saying, perhaps they need to go down this route, and this is a suggestion. So, yes, they're cleared, but still there's other ways or directions or healing that can be useful to them.
And the thing is, like you said, we're spiritual people, so we are more aware of what we can do to help ourselves. But we are also human people, and we do have our, we've all had our moments. Me and Jonno, especially last year, we had some tricky health moments, didn't we? But we get through it because, we are human, but we rely on our spiritual side to get us through that as well. But people that aren't following that spiritual path or are still very much in that material world where they're pet up with all, like you said, what's going on in the world, it's harder for them to see through that and see there's an end, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So this nicely leads on to your spiritual gatekeepers, because you do some work with the gatekeepers, you do some meditation courses, isn't it? And you do some classes on that. And again, I've had this question asked myself this week. What are they? Polly, do you know who yours are?
Do you know, I'm a bit, at the moment, when you said earlier, you feel like your three are the three M's, they've all got their little role up there. Yeah. I'm going to be honest, it's almost like with me, after I have meditated, but it's almost like Maya, my guide, who is very strong. She's like, no, I'm going to sort it out. So is that in my head, and touch wood, I haven't had any sort of bad experience or attachment for a long, long time. Not a long, long time. And touch wood, I do lots of protection. I do lots of almost ritualistic with my protection now. It's gone, it's like that, but in a healthy way. But Maya seems to come in and sort everything out. And it's like she feels like she's right up there, and she's like, no, well, that's not coming in. Avoid that person, avoid that person, avoid that situation. And it's almost like
the dog's telling you.
The gatekeeper dog.
So I feel that. However, I might have a background person for all I know. I don't know.
Well,
So tell us
about. He does talk to Brahma, so maybe you have, and maybe you've just said, yeah. So, Jonno, let's talk about spiritual gatekeepers before we run out of time.
Yeah. So my understanding is that all of us have a team of guides, and guides have specialities. Now, it might be, we're going to talk about Polly, it might be that Maya is the master guide. She will rely on others, but she is also the master guide, the powerful one that can pretty much deal with anything and everything. But as we all know in life, we need different guides at different times because we experience different vibrations, and those guides will come in when they're required. It could be that Maya is bringing them through and working them through, but there will be a team of guides.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be that Maya is Polly's gatekeeper. It could be that Maya is Polly's channel, main control, and also psychic surgeon or healer, whatever guide it is, it doesn't matter, or discipline it is. With me,
argue with her, let's put it that way.
yeah. With me, it is that White Hawk is very much the healer. He's not a psychic surgeon. I have psychic surgeons that do the laser work and the cutting away and the rebuilding. He is very much the preparer of the recipient of the work. And I also have Red Feather, who is the warrior. He is the one that takes no rubbish from any energy that we work with. And if White Hawk can't talk them out, Red Feather will come in and physically remove or spiritually remove it within a split second. I've never seen him challenged. So that means that I have that amount of confidence that I work with him. So really what we're doing, the gatekeeper, when we open our energy, I describe it like opening our front door. If you open the front door and leave it open all night, it might not be the best thing to do. Exactly the same as our energy. If we're going to open our energy and work, we need to know that it's protected. We need to have confidence that it's protected. You wouldn't open your energy and just leave it open for the universe to do what it feels like. So going back to your front door, you're going to have some neighbours come in saying this isn't the right thing to do, you need to close it. You're going to have some coming in saying I fancy a cup of tea and a piece of cake. And you're going to have other people walk through the front door who are going to take complete advantage of you, an opportunity wherever they can. So your gatekeeper is the one that stands by your front door, your spiritual guide, the one that stands there with the shield and the sword as a visualization, and they stop the negative coming in. So they can be called upon very quickly, very easily. It's just a question of knowing that energy. So when I do the gatekeeper evening and the meditations, I do a meditation to build your energy so you get used to it. And then I build that energy again a second time, and then I bring the gatekeeper in. And when you bring the gatekeeper in, you feel the interruption in your energy and you feel that connection that you have. And then you can start, once you have that introduction, you can then start working with the gatekeeper, whoever it is, whether it be your master guide, whether it be a completely specialist one as a warrior, like I have with Red Feather. I have mediums that have been working for 20 years doing the demonstrations, and they come on the gatekeeper meditation night. I have people coming in who have done nothing before, and this is their very first spiritual meditation, which I've got to say, if you're going to learn your first spiritual meditation, be it about your energy and be it about protection, because protection should be everywhere. Everywhere we go is energy, and energy isn't always positive. The universe works in balance. So if we are going to open our energy and work spiritually in a circle, I imagine you two, knowing you two, you're going to open up correctly, you're going to give protection. But how many times do people do that when they walk around Sainsbury's? When they walk around Walmart? How many people are energetically protected? And it's not about fear. It's about having confidence to know that you can deal with it and know that you can go into different environments and come out and share your light and not worry about anything attaching or taking a piggyback home, which is what we don't want. So that's what the gatekeeper does.
Yeah. So have you got any of these courses or meditations coming up?
Wow, funny you should say that. I do.
Fancy that.
I do. But I do have an evening, a gatekeeper evening on the 10th of May. Sunday the 10th of May. It's affordable. It's there to be affordable. It's there to help people. All you got to do is go on the website, which is just listed below. You may or may not be able to see all of it, but it's jonowebster.co.uk, and go into the courses and events. You'll find the gatekeeper. We're just updating it literally at the moment, and that will be live tomorrow. And you can come on there. You don't have to attend if you can't. I have people in the Southern Hemisphere that buy these, and then they get the recording the day after, and they're able to go through their own meditation, following the recording and following the process exactly the same way. So if you can't attend, you can still book in and register. You can still get the recording, and you can use it as often as you wish. If you do want to attend, you can come in and ask me live questions, talk to me. It's a chat, it's informal. Come in and have a chat with me, talk to me about different things, and I'll be able to speak directly to you. And then we do the meditation for your own energy, and then we do the meditation for the gatekeeper. And I have people attend maybe 3-4 times. Some people just do it once, but people enjoy the meditations. So it's a nice way to connect.
We have actually shared it to our development group and our trance group before, and quite a few of them have taken up on it. And again, I think some have paid and then had the recording, because it probably fell sometimes on one of our development group nights. We know your trance did, and we actually, some of our trance members, when we were doing it before we stopped it for a bit. We actually said to them, go and do the trance with Jonno, come back to us when you're ready, because we knew how important that was for them to do it. As Polly doing both levels, me doing level 1, it would be wrong of us to stop anyone wanting to do it. So we know from experience that our group have quite enjoyed those videos and those courses, haven't they, Polly? So we're always sharing it.
And we've got some new students, so if you can send us a link, we will pop it onto our groups as well.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Polly, you haven't got gatekeepers that you know about. That said, I know when I've had a tough clearing and I've suddenly felt I've sort of come back a bit in trance and then seen all 3 of mine with Maya. And for Aloe, this is a heavy one. We've been placed in a triangle, the 2 of us, while we're clearing. And Polly's guide with my 3 are actually keeping us in some sort of, well, not even a triangle, it was a diamond, I think, the last one. So whatever Maya's doing, she's doing a good job because she comes in and helps me out when I need it. And I know, like I said, I feel those 2, their presence is heavy, it's intense, and it's serious when they come in, and I know they're there protecting me. So if anyone out there is worrying, get on Jonno's course, listen to his meditation and work out who's protecting you. I call them my bodyguards, and I sometimes place them at the bedroom door at night if I'm feeling that something is making me, not me personally, uneasy. I don't think anything scares us now, does it, since doing spirit?
No. Only ones, but they're not spirit.
No, yeah, people maybe, but it's nothing. We've not come across anything in the other side that has bothered us. If anything, we've took it on full on. But sometimes when I just feel I need extra protection at night, when I'm asleep, I've put those 2 there and kept my bedroom safe. People are probably thinking, what are they up to? But that is what we do now because we take ourselves very seriously and the work we do. Anything you want to add, Jonno, before we sign off?
Well, really, I think that what you 2 are doing, the podcasts that you're doing, are just absolutely brilliant and amazing. And the more people that listen to you, the better they will get, the better they will be, because I know the integrity behind the 2 of you. I know how the 2 of you work. And certainly at the moment, you know, you haven't got to go too far to realise what the world is like at the moment. So just spend a second a day just being light, just being good, just being nice, and you'll make a difference. Being spiritual is not about going to a spiritualist church or doing meditations. Being spiritual is just being nice to someone, and that makes a huge difference. And that can change the world.
Yeah, and to be honest, you know what? We do struggle sometimes to fit the podcast in. That's why we made it fortnightly. We both have a lot going on. Polly works like a Trojan horse. I've got a lot of personal stuff that I need to obviously attend to. But at our fair, we did our little fair again Saturday, which is only for our group. So we only have 17 stall holders and we're not going big. We're not expanding. It was for our group and it stays for our group. And if everyone enjoys it, great. But we had quite a few people coming up saying how much they liked our podcast, how much they look forward to playing it with a cup of tea on a Sunday morning or on doing a rerun. And please don't stop. And do you know what? It was nice to hear, not because we want, we haven't got big heads, we're not trying to get favours. It was nice to hear that sometimes we wonder if anyone is enjoying it. Sometimes we wonder if they're getting the subjects. And when people are telling us at an event that we're not even aware they're watching us, that they actually enjoy listening to the subject matter, the guests, and that sometimes when they're a bit lonely or a bit confused, even if it's not spiritual, something we say resonates and it works for them. So we will keep doing them. We do need to look at our format and tech because Jane was... But yeah, we want to do it because there's so much out there people don't talk about and we are different. We just want to do it to help people. So... and that's what we're going to keep doing, isn't we, Polly?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for your beautiful presence, Jonno.
Yeah.
You are so knowledgeable and, as I said, work with the hugest integrity and professionalism. So please, anyone out there who really is interested in perhaps expanding their knowledge, looking into the Gatekeeper meditation experience and the psychic surgery and all possibly interested in learning about spirit release, remote spirit release, because he's your man. You know, there's been so much we have learned over this time. Like I said, going back, yes, when I met you, I was doing readings, I was doing angel card readings, and I was doing things like that. But when I met this man, it kicked off into something very different. And I just am so grateful, like ever grateful for where we all are today because of it.
I will end with one thing, because again, the spirit release has helped me so much. I always had a sense of knowing. It's one of my strongest psychic abilities. But since spirit release, Merlin can come out in my readings and do, even when I'm not in trance, and we're just having this full-on conversation about what I've got to tell the client. But what I have done, and it's been the last year, it's more noticeable, I have recognised when a spirit is still earthbound in a reading now, and not just a spirit. And I've actually sort of juggled that a bit while I'm doing it. And this more recently, in the last couple of weeks, I've actually had someone's father come in that I knew instantly had not even crossed in the last few days. So it's really fascinating how much it has given me a better insight into my other work, but also to trust my guide, and the fact he's been hanging around for 4 years waiting for me to talk to him. I trusted him before. So it is fascinating. It does help with all our work. It helps with a lot of things we do, but it also helps with our everyday life, because now we know when we need a little twinge or a little tweak there. So thank you very much, Jonno. Thank you, Polly, for dragging me along. But it was a great week anyway. So thank you everyone for watching us. We will be back in 2 weeks. So we might do a little live on our journeys next week. Look out for that. But that'll be a quick little live. It won't be a podcast, but it always goes on YouTube. And we will see you in a fortnight, people. Anyone watching this, it's gone out on Facebook. As soon as we end it, it'll be on there. So I will add Jonno so that you can follow him if you're not already, and then look out for the YouTube channel on Sunday at 11 o'clock. So from that, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from us.
And it's goodbye from the lovely Jonno. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Bye.